From high atop the ringside seats at Curmudgeon Square Arena, we're getting splattered with spit, blood, and sweat is all in a good day's work. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all fight fans at sea. Welcome to the Mike Tyson live stream. Glad to be with you. Glad you could join us. Here's a little Mike Tyson highlight video to get us warmed up. I actually have I found a playlist that has all of the Tyson fights in their entirety in chronological order. I mean, the knockout highlight reel videos are all well and good, but they don't provide you much in terms of things to analyze. So I'm glad I found something that was all in its entirety. And look who's here with us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Captain Curmudgeon's Knock 'em Out, Sock 'em Up.
Punch him out.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of punching, a lot of outs.
Yep. We are here to discuss the case of Michael Gerard Tyson of Brooklyn, New York.
Right? An absolute bruiser.
The most 5'10", the most divisive heavyweight champion in history, at least as things stand right now.
Absolutely.
And I was talking to my dad earlier about how, it's interesting when you've been alive for a sufficient number of decades to see the same arguments play out over again, but about different people and with different people. And the arguments that I hear people have today about Tyson are the same arguments that people used to have about Rocky Marciano when I was a kid. And the crux of the question is, how do you judge a champion who dominated a down era when there was no one who could really compete with him on the level?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, first of all, you can't compare Marciano's style to Tyson's style because they are drastically different.
Oh, yes.
Tyson's style is drastically different at the beginning of his career compared to the end of his career.
Yep.
He goes from hopping around the ring to actually technically boxing people.
Yeah, look at him slipping those punches right there. You see that? That is straight up Floyd Patterson right there. That's as a defensive fighter, that's what he was when he was, in what turned out to be the prime of his career, which is age 20, 21, 22. He slips punches going up and down and then comes at you with. And then the other thing about Tyson is that I think sets him apart from everybody else, and you can't penalize a guy for the era he fights in, but this guy has got 3 one-punch knockout punches that he can throw at you, and I don't think there's any other heavyweight you can say that about in history. He's got
the headbutt.
He's got the. Well, first of all, he's really got 3 different versions of the left hook. He's got the Joe Frazier left hook where he crouches down and launches himself into it, and it's got an upward trajectory. But he can also throw it flat-footed, straight arm, and he can come over the top with it. And when he goes into that crouch, another thing that sets him apart is the use of the uppercut as an offensive weapon, which is pretty unusual because traditionally the uppercut is more of a defensive punch that you throw when you're in trouble. It's not something you look to throw, but Tyson looked to throw it. See, there it is right there. How perfectly did I time that?
Ooh, dude, that was murderous. And that overhand right, like you were talking about.
Yep.
It's not his best, but it is a knockout blow. If you catch it,
and also having a one-punch knockout capability with either hand is something, it's not very precedented. He's one of the only guys who could ever do that. And when he dropped into that crouch, and you knew he was gonna launch into some kind of a knockout punch, you didn't know whether it was going to be the Joe Frazier left hook or the vicious killer right uppercut. It could be either one. And that's how do you fight a guy like that?
Jump in with both feet and just hold on. You Buster Douglas it.
Yeah, you be Buster Douglas and have the night of your life in Tokyo.
Dude, that man fought the most brilliant night of his career.
I still remember the exact moment when I heard about that. I was what was that 1990? So I'm 16
Something
and I get home and I've just been out. It was a Saturday, so I've just been out partying with my friends or whatever. I get home and I'm gonna go to bed and I turn on the sports talk radio channel and first thing I hear is, in case you haven't heard already, Mike Tyson was knocked out in Tokyo tonight by James Buster Douglas. And I said, James Buster, who?
who
I didn't even know there was a Tyson fight tonight.
your playlist failed.
All right, let me start this
Not
thing.
sure.
And this is a cool playlist because it actually starts with 3 amateur fights. This
Oh,
first
good.
one,
I was wondering about that. I went and dug up one of them. I don't remember which one.
I believe, when he's a young boy of 15. Video quality not that great, but what do you do?
Yeah, no, work with what you got, man.
Yep, work with what you got. It was the 1980s after all, just barely the 1980s.
You're
1981 was,
lucky there's video.
right?
I don't imagine it was the most prestigious gym on the planet either, was it?
No, and a lot of these early fights are yeah, not the world's biggest venues.
Well, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, and it got kind of ridiculous that he was only he's a yeah, so much for that fight. He's a 19-year-old kid. He's 8 or 9 fights into his career, and already you've got people in the press. Oh, when's he gonna stop fighting these tomato cans? When's he gonna fight some real contenders? And he's had fewer than 10 fights, and he's still a teenager. I mean, you want to calm down a little bit?
You might can pause it and let it buffer up real tasty.
Spontané,
You think?
amateur.
Notice there's 2 positions
Yeah,
in there.
my computer is angry at me at the moment, I think.
Depuis 3 années simplement.
Whenever I go back to the StreamYard tab, it likes to take its sweet ass
Hold them in
time.
position.
Yeah, no, it says it's browser based, but all of your
C'est le chaos le plus rapide de l'histoire de ce tournoi olympique junior.
That's Tyson. There he goes, moving out.
All
Short
right, let's
arm,
just let it
and
ride.
powerful. Remember,
Is-
only 15 years old.
The other thing I love about Tyson in his
Great overhand right. Brown carries the left hand low. We'll see whether the two match up. There's the right hand. There's the left. A right left combination.
is that better?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you want to have a little bit of volume or do you want to mute it?
Just mute it.
Okay.
If you're going to catch a copyright claim, it's most likely going to come from some random ditty that plays during something in the background.
All right, yeah, we can just as well mute it then.
Not
It's
that
not
I
like there's
care,
going to
you know.
it's not like there's going to be any Howard Cosell that we miss, and that's the important thing.
Right, we have to hear the Howard Cosell if it's available.
Yeah. And how many times do you see a guy get one punch knocked out with a headgear on?
Really, I mean, for really, that is one of the hardest
Yeah,
core things about a Tyson bout is that he does such a dramatic sudden finish.
And in the early years, I mean, this series of fights that we're about to watch, you will notice almost every punch he throws is a potential knockout punch.
In the early bouts,
There's never any sticking and moving with Tyson. He is trying to separate your head from your upper torso, and that is all there is to it.
he is here to injure a person.
Yep, and he gets pretty damn close a couple times. When we get to the Michael Jack Johnson fight, you're going to see a man's head almost fly off his shoulders. But back to the the old Marciano argument about how do you judge a champion who dominates in a down era. But I think the rejoinder to that is to say that any champion in any era, the majority of his life's work and his career is going to be fights against overmatched competitors that don't belong in the ring with him, because that is a byproduct of being a great fighter. So part of how you judge a champion, that has to be part of it. It has to be how dominant you are against the tomato cans that you fight and the pushovers. And every champion has fought lots of tomato cans and pushovers, but not every champion opens their career with 16 first round knockouts in the first 18 fights.
Right? Dynamite.
Yep.
I mean, he just knocked a man out by hitting him in the rib.
Yeah, and there's when we get a couple fights past this one, I forget which guy he fought, and I shouldn't forget it because I just watched it this morning. But it is a single.
And then he goes, gives him a kiss on the cheek. Like,
Yeah.
man, I'm sorry I broke your
Yeah,
ribs.
that's another remarkable thing about the young Tyson, is the amount of concern that he shows for his vanquished opponents who he has just nearly killed.
Yeah, no, he cares because he knows that
Yeah.
stuff hurts. I've had other people that said it hurt. I'm so sorry that I hurt your rib cage.
And I think it's fascinating also that he has wound up being such an incredibly wise and fascinating man today.
One of the things I really respected about Tyson was the way he was able to turn off his aggression the very second you lost senseless, that you became senseless. When your
Yeah.
gloves dropped, he'd just turn his back and walk away. Fight was over as
Yep.
far as he was concerned. There was no longer
And
any.
then he wants to know if you're okay after he just almost separated your head from your shoulders.
Absolutely.
And also a thing I think that he never got sufficient credit for when he was young and still an active fighter was his knowledge of boxing history, which he obviously got from Cus D'Amato and has only grown since. I bet, like Mike Tyson, if you mention the name of some fringe middleweight contender from the 1930s, he can tell you all about that fighter.
Yeah, he'll just break out into some history tale of
Yep.
His best fight was in such and such. I could just see that. I could.
Yeah.
Lisp his way right through it. It'd be great. I think it'd be cool. Did you see that meeting with him and Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
Walked in and started doing the shuffle.
Uh-huh.
Ali was like, I used to do that. It's so sad. At the same time, it's a very wholesome moment. One of the most hated boxers on earth meeting one of the other most hated boxers on earth for two totally different reasons. Mike
hated
Tyson
for totally different reasons.
Does not showboat a lick. He doesn't dance. He doesn't none of that. He just bruises and injures people.
Yep. Doesn't even wear a robe to the ring. Doesn't even have time to put socks on.
Just
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm damn near out of bubblegum.
Mm-hmm. With no other purpose. We are here to bruise people and injure them. Absolutely.
Oh, this is a pretty good one right here. And
These aren't potatoes. These guys he's fighting, they're not potatoes. They are not soup cans. These guys are simply not the ubermensch that this man is.
Yeah. And since you mentioned that, one of the fights we're going to see in a little bit here is Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. And Marvis Frazier was not a bad fighter. Let's not just get caught up in comparing him to his father. I think he was 19-1 when he faced Tyson. He loses to Tyson, never fights again.
Well, I mean, can you blame the man?
No, you cannot blame the man at all. But
this man here that just knocked you out is going to be champion at the first opportunity, and what are you supposed to do about it?
And that young man was a legitimate contender when they fought. 19-1 is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you've got the bloodline of being Joe Frazier's little boy. Are you kidding me? And God, talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. Have you ever seen a Marvis Frazier interview? God, talk about a dead ringer for a guy's father. It's almost eerie.
I guess not. Or maybe I have, and I thought it was Joe.
Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Because like I said, I had this wacky
see, there's the concern. See that he goes over and picks the guy. Are you okay?
You
Sorry I
alright,
hit
bud?
you so hard.
You took a really nasty wallop.
Yeah.
You okay, bud?
How'd you
You need
wind
a
up on the
doctor?
ground?
This man needs a doctor. No, I hit him. He needs a doctor.
Yeah.
And
And
Tyson's ability to get low in the ring is unrivaled, dude. I've never
Yeah.
seen anyone go so low in a squat in my life.
And slipping punches by going up and down. The only other guys I've seen that from are Frazier and Floyd Patterson, again with the Floyd Patterson comparisons, but there's going to be a lot of those because there's a reason for that.
He also works
Yeah,
from
Floyd
abnormal
Patterson was
stance.
a fantastic defensive fighter. He just didn't have a chin and he didn't have Tyson's power. And Tyson wound up not having much of a chin either, but that's a separate discussion.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why Tyson's critics are so vociferous about him not belonging in the conversation of the all-time great heavyweights is the fact that
I disagree. He absolutely does
he never
belong.
won. The reason they say that is because they say, well, he never won an all-out war in a title fight, and it's true, but there's also a counter argument to that, like there is for everything.
Didn't he? Well, he fought Foreman, right?
Nope.
Tyson never fought Foreman. Okay,
Nope.
no,
That was the one fight that never happened that lots of people really wanted to see, but they never did fight.
It would have been murder. Now Foreman in his heyday,
that would have been interesting because Foreman in his heyday and mid 40s comeback Foreman, those are different fighters. The
Totally.
Foreman in the 70s when he's young, he has such an amazingly interesting defensive technique because he's got his. It's why Ali called him the mummy, because he uses all these weird grappling moves to swat away punches and deflect shots and everything.
Gargantuan.
Yeah, but then he does his 10-year retirement or however long it was, and he comes back, and then he's got Archie Moore as his trainer, and he's doing the Archie Moore cross guard, which is a total departure from the way he used to fight, and he winds up getting the belt back with it. Yeah, that
conversation. Archie coming in and being like, "Hey, champ, I got one for you."
Yeah.
Look, instead of standing like this, move your feet and stand like this. What's that gonna do? And protect that pretty face.
Yeah, and it's pretty probable that if he had made that same comeback at that same age and tried to fight with the same technique that he fought when he was in his 20s, his comeback probably would not have gone as well as it wound up going.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, he did come back as a technical boxer.
Yeah.
Which
and that
is another point with Tyson is he does a short hiatus. When he returns fighting as a technical boxer and not this weirdness that you see him hopping around like a bunny rabbit in the ring and hitting people with his head.
Yeah, and every punch is a knockout punch.
We watch the hop. Bill.
Yep. Oh yeah, he will leave his feet and leap nearly halfway across the ring sometimes when he launches into that left hook.
He hits from so far out of field and he plants his feet. He'll time it for the landing, for the bounce after landing. He'll like point. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing right there. Point, point, point.
And the other thing that's remarkable when you watch these early fights is that he has such an aggressive offensive mindset. He's always coming at you, and yet he hardly ever gets hit.
It's not solidly, not straight on. He's always moving.
Yeah,
he comes in angles.
And how are you supposed to defeat a guy who's doing both of those things simultaneously? It can't be done. And he would just make mincemeat out of guys like this who are 5 or 6 inches taller than him.
His ability to dip that low, that when he gets low, it is almost a miraculous. He goes down faster than the force of gravity should allow.
Yep. And if you're a tall guy, he gets inside your range where you can't hit him, but he can throw all those short lefts and rights at you. You know, he can, especially the uppercut.
Ooh. He's already broke this man's nose.
Oh, I know. This guy, at the end of this
Oh.
fight, this guy looks like he wants to choose a new profession. He's like, why do I do this? I don't want to be a boxer anymore.
Right now, he's thinking, my cousin's got that tire shop in Wisconsin. I could totally just go change tires for the rest of the summer. It'd be fine.
Well, yeah, I believe this is the guy who, I think he was a West Virginia coal miner and stopped doing that to become a boxer. And I think his boxing career didn't last very long after this. Let me look it up to make sure I've got that right.
What kind of bad luck do you have to roll up out of West Virginia as a heavyweight contender, gonna roll in and make an attempt at the belt, only to run into Mike Tyson, who's like, I'm gonna knock you down and I'm gonna injure you, but I don't mean anything by it.
Yeah, your next fight is a kid who's 5'10" and has had 8 fights in his career. Oh, look at that!
Oh my God, he ripped his face off.
I know, he almost ripped his face off, literally. Man's nose almost went flying into the 5th row.
It was after this fight that there was an actual investigation on whether or not his gloves were legitimate. Turns out they're totally legitimate. He's just an absolute wrecking ball.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to make them fly that fast if they were loaded.
Right?
That can't be done.
Yeah.
All right, so this is John Alderson.
The next victim.
Yeah, except John Alderson.
Shut. It's what,
unfortunately, John Alderson doesn't have a Wikipedia article, so I can't click real fast and find his career record. All right, let's do this the hard way.
Right. Ooh.
Oh, now Google thinks I'm looking for. Google thinks I'm looking for an English actor.
Negligent backhand that almost knocked him out.
Right?
Dude shucked off his hook, and Tyson just reached over and handed him his glove in his face, and dude's knees buckled. He's like, oh, he over there, pip.
Yeah, this was John Alderson's last ever pro boxing match. He finished with a look at that man.
Crying.
Looks like he wants to keep being a boxer.
He does not want to get up.
I got a busted nose, my eyes all cut to shit. He's saying, please stop the fight. I don't want to. Oh, you have to fight him more? Come on, ref. Look at this. That man does not want to be in there with that other man.
I kind of feel like Tyson's trying to do a mercy knockout now because he's swinging for the fences. So I just put this man down. He'll go to the hospital. And
now if I just fall down, will you please end the fight, ref? Look, he's gonna cry. He's almost gonna cry.
He should. I would have been crying before I got in the ring. Look at this man.
Look at
He's
that.
Obviously gonna hurt someone. Ow.
And this guy comes into this fight undefeated, 6-0, 5 knockouts, looks like he might be a contender, and then his career ends after 1 round with Michael Gerard Tyson.
But yet again, I ask you, do you blame him?
Oh, fuck no. Not even a little bit.
I'll tell you a secret. I was on a football team with Taquillo Spikes. I was not on the team. I was in the school, and we practiced together, right? Mm-hmm. So one time Taquillo Spikes hits me when I've got that ball, and 2 hours later, even the janitor can't get it from me because my concussion refuses to let me let go of the ball, because that's the last thought I had was don't drop the ball so nobody can have it.
See, that is the look of a man who is reconsidering his life decisions.
I'm telling you, he's changing tires in Wisconsin with his brother now.
Like, why did I leave the coal mine? What did I think was in that for me?
He's looking at his boss going, have you got my brother's number? I've been wondering about that tire shop.
Yep. Tire shop ain't looking so bad now. Yeah, you just got knocked the fuck out, bro.
Tyrone the Great. What's up, bud? Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, but Box Rec is where I actually just got the John Alderson lowdown.
That was a damn fine looking specimen you got there. Is that you, or did you crop a image for it? Look at him. Got the
Yeah, that is a
cigar
fine
smoke.
specimen.
I hope that's cigar smoke anyway. Look like he on 29 palms.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm a natural stalker. I'm a Sasquatch. It happens.
It happens. What do you do?
How many times you got to knock a man down before you call it?
Yeah, that was just cruelty to let that thing go on. I mean, it's not like Alderson is going to come back and make a big comeback. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, Tyson looks bored out there. He's like, I wonder if I turned off the crock pot.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the lengths of his early fights. Fight number 1, 147 of the first. Fight number 2, 52 seconds of the first. Fight number 3, 1 minute 4 seconds of the first. Fight number 4, 39 seconds of the first.
I don't know who came up with this idea of watching all of these together. It was freaking brilliant.
Yeah, I'm glad I found this playlist. It's more useful than just the knockout highlight reel videos, because as fun as those are to watch, there's not really much to discuss there.
Yeah, it's too short. It's just a clip of the actual hit, and unless
that guy got knocked the fuck out.
Oh, this guy got knocked the fuck out, right?
And that guy got knocked the fuck out.
Okay, so we see how this is gonna go.
Yeah, and who is after all? Larry Sims, Lorenzo Kennedy. Let's hasten through the end of this thing. Get to the next one.
Well, I went into the ring and I hit him with my gloves and he fell down.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark. Back to you.
My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. I want to eat his children. That was one of the all-time great Tyson moments right there. And then Lennox Lewis says, "But I don't have any children." You and your technicalities.
Yeah, no, you don't see the beauty of this dude is Mike Tyson doesn't know anything about boxing at this point either. He's just hitting people and bruising them. No, actually, I'm selling him short. He has eaten, lived, and breathed boxing for what, 40, 50 years now?
Yep. Yeah, since age 14 is when he went to D'Amato. Who actually became his legal guardian because his mother was a crack hoe, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I'm just saying I'm selling the man short, and that's inappropriate. I shouldn't do that. He did that. I can do his intro. I can do it well enough to get you copyright claimed. I'm not gonna do it. Guess how I figured that out.
Oh, go ahead and do it. You know you want to.
I'm not gonna do it. No, sir. No, sir. That's a block, dude. That man doesn't want it happening nowhere.
So this is Lorenzo Kennedy, I believe, is the fight we're gonna watch next. And let's see where he was going into this contest.
He's a big boy.
Go back to Box Rec.
3-0.
Box Rec is invaluable.
1 knockout. 3-0. They just popped it up on screen.
Yep, and he finished his career 10-1. Guess what the one was?
Tyson. So
like,
yet again,
it's kind of amazing that there's so many guys Tyson fought where they just decided not to fight anymore afterward.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know of any other boxer that retired more people than Tyson. Just outright.
Oh, no.
He just left the ring and never entered again. Became taxi drivers and stuff.
You know, and the argument, the anti-Tyson argument is to say that, you know, between when he takes the title off Trevor Burbick and loses it to Buster Douglas, I mean, who's the best guy he fights in between those two? Is it a 38-year-old Larry Holmes? It might be.
You might be right there.
Yeah. And so it's a perfectly valid argument that there was nobody during those 3 or 4 years that even belonged in the same ring with this guy, but that is not his fault.
Who was managing his matches at that point?
Kevin Rooney.
And before that?
That was, well, Kevin Rooney was Cus D'Amato's lieutenant, basically. So
Okay.
so at first it was direct instruction from D'Amato, and then as he starts, the actual corner man was Rooney, who was D'Amato's protege. And then it's less than a year before the loss to Douglas that Don King decides to get rid of Rooney because
So
Rooney is on to what Don King is, and keeps telling Tyson that, and so he needs to be got rid of.
yeah, no, Don King did more to hurt boxing than any single man in the past 50 years.
Oh God, I know. Are you kidding me? That's not even close.
He almost turned boxing into like the National Wrestling League.
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that 50 years ago, heavyweight boxing was arguably the most popular sport in the country. To it's gone from where it was then to where it is today, which is barely even registering on the cultural radar. Don King did that.
Don King did that pretty much single-handedly through his jury rigging of matches throughout his entire management career. He would specifically pitch boxers against people they could beat easily or simply could not beat. That's how he rigged his fights. The hype machine.
And wasn't it the Ali Foreman fight that was his first big contest as a promoter? I think it was. And boy, boxing was just all downhill after that, wasn't it?
Nothing good happened after that.
No.
In fact, the next big point is Tyson.
Yeah. You which you know, it's not to say Larry Holmes wasn't a great fighter, but as champions,
do you remember people paying for the pay-per-view on the Tyson fights and then getting completely irascibly upset that the pay-per-view lasted 2 minutes? I paid $65.50 for that.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because that is the whole reason that pro wrestling went from being legit to being fake. Because when they were doing the carnival circuit, and that was what pro wrestling matches were part of, the best wrestlers were so dominant that none of their matches would last, you know, longer than a minute or 2 minutes, and people who paid their money to see this thing got pissed off. So eventually they decided, well, we got to make these things last longer. So let's mix in some make believe.
Okay, Smoking, it's good to see you, bud.
Yeah, good to see you, Smoking.
So the professional wrestling circuit in the mid 80s took a lot of nods from the boxing circuit of the late 70s. And those nods came in the form of matching off opponents as like overachievers versus underdogs.
Right.
And when the boxing circuit comes back around mid 90s, they're doing a similar kind of like clout grab to try to revamp their viewership. And pay-per-view became a real big thing at the time.
Yep.
Until Tyson comes along. And suddenly he's the most watched boxer in pay-per-view history, while at the same time being the least watched boxer in pay-per-view history.
Yeah.
He's got the
Because
least
none
number.
of his fights make it to the 2-minute mark.
The highest paid, least watched celebrity in history.
Yeah. All right. Let's see who the next victim is.
Victims. That's so sad. This poor man.
Oh, Michael Jack Johnson. This is the one I was telling. This is the man whose head almost flies off his shoulders. Also, pro tip: just because your last name is Johnson doesn't mean you get to call yourself Jack and it makes you a good fighter, because it doesn't.
Oh
And
yeah.
look at that hair. Look at that hairdo.
Hey, you're right. He always murders this man.
Oh yeah, this one's always in the highlight reel.
I think I saw something similar on Jason versus New York. You remember that scene where he beans him off the top of the building? Anyway,
yeah. It's pretty close to that.
It's pretty close. It's just a little bit of attachment left. That's all.
Mm-hmm. That last little bit of flesh kept it going.
Like a speed bag. It's bad.
Yep. Oh, Speedbag. Who's Nick? I forget who's. Oh, Robin Ventura. His nickname was Speedbag because of what Nolan Ryan did to him that one time. One of the great sporting nicknames of all time, in my opinion. Robin Speedbag Ventura.
That's a good one. I mean,
and he has still never lived that down, and he ain't never going to.
I'm sorry, but even if you got to eat a little crow for a good nickname, it makes you famous.
Yeah. Not everybody gets to have a cool nickname.
That's true. And Speedbag's not the worst. It's just not a nice one. What can you do?
If nothing else, it means you can take a punch.
Yes, sir.
All right, Michael Jack. Hope your head stays on, buddy.
Did you eat your Wheaties this morning? I'm just curious. Somebody, I just don't feel like this is fair. I mean, I know it's
not in the slightest.
I got a good one. For you. Check this out. So fix that. So somebody asked me earlier on a community tab question, was like, if you could time travel, where would you go back to and what would you do? Or who would you have dinner with? And he gave a list of obvious things like Elvis and stuff like that, and was like, if other, be specific. And my response was, I would go back to eat with Alexander the Great, Hephaestus, and Ptolemy the night before Alexander was going to invade Egypt, when the priestess showed up to invite him in as the sun itself. I would really like to have seen that happen. Right? And he was like, I didn't know you was going to be that specific. You back, bud?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, man. I just told a little story. It'd be all right.
All right. I gotta get
and you'll always wonder what it was.
It's true. It's going to haunt me to my grave, frankly.
Or to about 10 minutes after the show ends.
Perhaps so. All right. Let's see. And then I want to add a different one.
We're going to learn you up real good. Yes, sir.
Learn me up real good.
Going to learn you up real good. You got a real pretty mouth, boy. Did that not just send chills up your spine?
You ever see a grown man naked, Jimmy?
I was filmed about 12 miles away from here, bud.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't want any more interruptions of my Michael Jack Johnson slaughter.
Right. I really want to see this.
I know. This is such a good one.
Oh, dear.
Tyson looks so unnatural in white shorts.
Dude, he looks unnatural in every fight up to about the 15th, which is the first fight.
Yeah, that's right. I think it takes him just about that long to arrive at his signature look.
Right. But I mean, he just doesn't box like other boxers, and so he does look unnatural.
How many 20-year-old men do you see with a body like that?
Okay, so I'm aroused. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Why did you do that?
It's all right. I promise not to play any Howard Cosell videos.
He just you see that? This corner man was just caressing his ass cheek lovingly. Did you see
Yeah.
that? He didn't just pop him on the ass. He reached over, popped him, and then
Hey,
grabbed
there's
him.
always room for a little homoeroticism.
I told you. And
All
it's
right,
over.
let's sit back and bask in the glory of this demolition.
Oh my!
Yeah, the dude's just swinging and missing, like missing by a foot. Not even just missing, but missing. See, look at that! Look at that! And he's down. That was a one-punch body shot
Body shot.
knockdown on a body
I don't
shot.
think he touched his body anywhere in the previous volley.
Nah.
That's the moment he realized
Yeah, how many?
he fucked up.
Oh God! Look, and that's the very next punch, and he's in dreamland now. I mean, nighty night, Michael.
Yeah. Mom, I don't want to go to school. The fish stole my money. Careful with that hammer.
And this was the point where he starts. They keep asking him in the interviews. All your fights keep ending in the first round. Are you concerned that you haven't been tested so far? Or that you haven't been fighting better opponents? And he says, "Well, you guys always say they're good opponents before I fight them, and then I knock them out in the first round, and you say they were tomato cans. So what do you want?"
Yeah, well, you can't win with these people. But
Watch
on
this
the
man's
flip
head
side,
almost fly off. Oh, this is the body shot right here.
and it's over there. That's where that
Oh
fight
yeah,
ended.
yeah. He could have
He
waved the thing
stands
off
up.
right there. Yep.
He stands up, tries to walk it off like a real man, and
And
realizes this ain't going to work.
he is still out cold. But let's see that. Let's see that knockout punch. Yeah, well, one of the most vicious punches in boxing history, maybe. Come on, replay man.
Replay man. Jim Eagle.
Replay man. Here we go.
Renzo, can you get it?
The very next punch. Watch this. Oh God.
Good God, man.
You literally could kill a man punching him that hard.
I think that might have been another one of those mercy knockouts we discussed.
Yeah. That man has no idea what his name is.
Well, Your Honor, I shattered his kidney, and so I figured I should knock him out so he could get to the hospital faster.
Oh, and he's missing a tooth. They got to go find that. Which is also a pretty impressive feat. To knock out a man's tooth who's wearing a mouth guard.
Well, I want to be honest. On that one, when he hit him in that kidney and he stood back up, he never raises his gloves completely back up. He is favoring that right side.
The fight shouldn't have been allowed to continue after that first
Not that quickly. Not that quickly.
Yeah.
Because Tyson pretty much just jumped on top of him and hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that's what he's paid to do. So, I mean, sure. Yeah, that's what you do.
All right,
Makes sense.
Let's get to the end of this thing. Donnie Long, this is a good one too. This is a classic because Donnie Long, he was pretty pleased with himself. He thought he was going to give Tyson a real contest. He said, "I can outbox Tyson." This is the return of Donnie Long, baby.
The crazy old gym guy that I had that showed me all the old boxing footage, he swore that this man was rubbed down in so much Vaseline that nobody could lay a glove on him. That's not sweat. That he literally bathed in oil so that the glove wouldn't stick to it. Not sure how effective that would be, but certainly an idea.
Yeah, Tyson on the day of this fight is 19 years, 101 days old. 9-0. And Donnie Long, I think he was a bit of a veteran here. Let me look him up on BoxRec real fast. The master of disaster. Dude, Donnie Long doesn't get to steal nicknames from Apollo Creed. That is offensive.
It's victory appropriation.
Damn right it is.
That's like somebody trying to call themselves Machine Gun. It just never works out. It never works
Oh,
out.
here's an interesting tidbit. Donnie Long's final professional fight was against Buster Douglas, which was
Okay.
seven fights after this one, and that would have been 3 years before the Douglas Tyson fight. Let's dispense.
I need to look in how many people Tyson retired.
I want to turn on the volume for this Donnie Long interview.
Go ahead.
This is
If indeed he'd be ready for this youngster.
I'm in good shape. I feel sharp, and I feel like I can outbox Tyson.
I can outbox
That's what I was
Tyson.
going to ask you. You felt that Tillman in the Olympic trials outboxed Tyson, used his lateral movement and good jab, and those are skills you have, but you can punch also.
Yes, I plan on boxing Tyson too. I think that I can box as good as he can, and I keep him in the middle of the ring, and I can punch if not better than Tyson.
Will this be a win that puts Donnie Long back into the heavyweight picture?
This will be a win to let everybody know that Donnie Long is back.
Donnie Long is back,
Late
baby.
previous opponents thought that they were the toughest from.
All right.
Donnie.
So your plan, let me get this straight. Your plan is to outbox a man who hasn't gone an entire round in his entire career.
Yep.
Okay.
He says I can outbox Tyson and I can punch harder than Tyson. Let's see how that works out for you, young man.
I don't think he said he could punch harder. I think he said he could outpunch him. I don't think he meant harder. I think he hit him more. Okay. Anyway.
Fine. I'll give you that one.
There's no way that man hits harder than Tyson. He's obviously a loser.
Look how filled with confidence that young man is. He thinks this is
He's on drugs. No, he is on drugs. That man is on PCP or something. There is no one that confident going in the ring against Tyson.
Yeah, not when he's already got 10 fights under his belt and you've seen what he can do to people. Still wearing those white trunks.
Still looks like he don't fit in.
Yep. 8-0, 8 KOs.
That is one heck of a card, man. 8-0-0-0.
Oh yeah, it's nice when you got a clean sheet.
Ooh. Oh my!
Like throwing a no-hitter, nothing but zeros.
Look at how juicy he already is. See, Tyson's dry, right? He ain't even broke a sweat. He ain't been back there running around and doing stuff. This guy's juicy as he can possibly be.
And again,
at this moment,
every punch Tyson throws is a potential knockout punch. He doesn't even ever think about throwing a jab or sticking and moving or anything like that.
I swear to God, Tyson's going back to the middle of the ring because that's where dude said he wanted to fight.
Yeah.
As he said, I'm going to keep him in the middle of the ring. And he kind of is, but it's because Tyson's not charging him.
There it is.
There
was nothing deceptive about that punch. He just threw it at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, this is manslaughter. Yep, Donnie Long is back, baby.
I'm good. No, I'm good. I think I left the toaster strudel in the oven, but I'm good.
I got him right where I want him, ref.
We got him surrounded. There's only
part of
you.
my strategy. Yeah, we got him surrounded.
And Tyson could have killed him there, and he didn't.
Oh, I know.
He just caught him and picked him back up.
Yeah,
dude got hit and didn't realize he was knocked out.
Yeah, that man is on Dream Street right now.
I think I got my homework. I left my dog outside because somebody checked the oven. I left the pizza in.
Yeah, see, when you said Donnie Long is back, what you meant to say is Donnie Long is on his back.
You say this man went on to fight a few more fights and then end his career with Buster Douglas?
Yep, he fought 8 more times after this. The last one was, oh God, he lost his last 6 fights. He only won 1 time after this. That's
Ooh.
rough. I guess
Ooh.
Donnie Long wasn't back. God, he was so brimming with confidence too.
That's cold, dude. You're savage.
Right on the nose.
Just stay down, man.
Yeah, just collect your paycheck
Okay, he
and be done
stands
with
up
it.
and he's like, "No, I got this. Maybe I don't got this."
Yep.
No, he picks
Yeah,
up his gloves. I got this.
yeah. Not a drop of sweat on Tyson.
Right? No, he's still wondering about his tax returns.
Like, the man's legs just crumple beneath him.
The one where he clicks him in the head earlier, he hits him. Holmquist throws 2 more punches, but neither of his eyes are looking in the same direction. Yeah. His gloves are just on autopilot over here, just throwing.
There are some punches that Tyson throws in some of these early fights that don't connect, and when they don't connect, you think, thank God that punch didn't connect, because that might have killed that son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. Ow. This one right here.
Yeah.
You see that? He drilled him. Holmquist took a swing and then goes down.
And then he tries to get up real quick, and then he's like, no, I'm not getting up.
Call my cousin with the bodega. See if I can bag groceries for him.
Damn right.
Dude, I'm
Gotta
telling you,
find myself a new line of work.
When you're an amateur and you're doing something on an amateur level and you encounter an actual professional that does that thing professionally, it can show you to your face that you are an amateur.
Yep.
And you should go sit down with the other amateurs and watch the professionals work.
This next fight lasts 37 seconds.
So who's the victim?
Robert Collet. Who that is, I have no idea.
It's that guy. Okay.
Yeah. It's the guy we're about to see get murdered.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being the referee that's been rousted out of bed to come over and check out this whole situation, right? You got to come over here and ref the match, and it doesn't make a lick of sense at all because Mike Tyson is going to murder this poor guy. It's going to be manslaughter, absolute manslaughter, no doubt. We lost our host. Not sure where to go with it from here. But I've got a bit that I've been working on for him. It's about how he found Jim Eagle, and I want to do a vocal bit. Well, that is interesting, Miro. Very strange. But okay. Something happened then that Jim did not intend. Yeah, I don't speak whatever that is. Although certainly interesting looking. There he is. Welcome
Sorry
back.
again.
It'd be like that, dude. Earlier today, my internet was kicking over about every 10 minutes. We have I believe, a Russian, perhaps? Or is that Ukrainian? I can't tell.
Sorry, let me get everything situated here again.
Yeah, do that thing, man. This is one of the reasons why I don't use StreamYard to handle my media. because there's
Yeah,
a very
didn't you switch to a new place?
well, all right. So I went to Mellon and I went and tried their system. And for a single guest, yes, it is phenomenal. For me and you to sit here and talk about something, that's great. You could even get another one in, like if it was me, you, and another guest, right? Because I'm admin.
Yeah.
But that's it. For the free version, the sound is phenomenal.
I
The
noticed the sound right away when you were on it the
Yeah.
other night.
Oh yeah. The sharing on it's a little bit hinky, but I think I could work with it. Although since I use OBS to do my visuals and I use my desktop mixer to mix my audio.
Ooh!
Jesus. That is inappropriate and wrong. Why would you let that man continue?
Yeah, you're not going to let that man continue.
Well, at least you're catching some international attention. That's interesting.
Right?
The best I get are people who come in speaking Tamil.
Hey, everybody's welcome. We're a multicultural program around here.
I don't even. I mean,
Oh, look
yeah,
at that man! Look at that man crumble to the
Dude.
ground.
You see that look on his face? He's like, man,
Yep.
I'm not getting up. I'm not doing it.
I'm not getting up, and I am choosing a new profession in the morning.
Hey, coach, you know, I always wanted to be a bartender.
Come on, it shows reading. I guess not. Let's just get to the end of that thing. All right, next victim. See, I told you this was going to be a short 20 fight live stream.
How many we got left?
We're on number 11,
Wow.
and I think we're not even an hour in.
All right. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a difference to his footwork in this fight as opposed to the previous ones. In the previous one, he hopped around more. Now he's still hopping, but he's actually taking steps. Right.
He's got his hands
Previously-
different too. He's not doing the full peekaboo.
Right.
I don't know why it's such a weird camera shot for this fight.
It's because it wasn't televised. It was from the
Yeah,
third
probably so. God,
Somebody-
look at that! Look at that! Look at that man going to work.
quarter. Oh my
Oh.
God.
Oh God,
Oh,
that is just
dude.
brutal.
Which one of those knocked him down?
I don't know. That is a man chopping another man down like a tree.
Did he say something about Tyson's mama? Shouldn't talk about that man's mama.
Yeah. If not, he's glad he didn't.
And the business-like demeanor that Tyson delivers to each one of these fights is absolutely amazing to me.
And the
He's
post
not
fight
here.
the post fight commentary is 5 times as long as the fight.
Right? 10-0.
10-0.
We've had a total of 9 minutes of fighting. 7
Yeah,
and a-
exactly.
Oh, this is glorious, bud. Oh,
Yeah,
Bob.
there's some real classics coming up in this next. When we get to David J. Coe, that is an awesome one. I think that's about 4 fights after this one. How long does this one last? This one goes to 1 minute 17 seconds of the first. Richardson, yeah. So we get over a minute here. It's like bonus boxing.
Uh-huh.
Oh
My God. And it was at this moment he realized. He fucked up.
that was the first punch he threw in the fight.
Did you see the look he gave the referee? Like, is that even fair?
2, 3, 4. I want to see how many total punches he throws in the entire fight. 6, 7.
Welcome to the Sasquatch Show, where Sasquatch chills so you don't have to. My man's having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's one of the instabilities of StreamYards. Personally, I think we're all being robbed, but okay, what can you do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set something up for the next time this happens. Let's see. We will do. Welcome back.
Sorry again. I don't know what the freaking deal is.
I know you'll work it out. You remember what I was telling you about orders of operations when it comes to stuff like this?
Mm-hmm.
I used to have this problem, basically the same thing you have happening. If I tried to launch something before something else in the wrong order, when it started playing, it'd crash.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to why it's doing it. All right, come on, StreamYard. There we go.
You can do it.
Ooh. Hey, that punch launched that man laterally about 7 or 8 feet.
He's
punch-
trying to get this referee to help him up. He's like, dude, give
Have
me
a hand, sir.
A little help. I'm like, what's wrong?
And then Tyson goes and picks him up.
He's like, Tyson, what are you doing here? We're supposed to box later. Nah, that's already
we're
over.
supposed to box later.
It's
I'm gonna
already
beat you
over.
tonight, Mike. Oh, you mean we fought already?
Yeah, it's very nice to
when
meet
did
you,
that
sir.
Yeah.
You know what you call that man, right? Sir.
Oh, God.
Ow. And he actually makes an attempt to get back up before he thinks better of it.
Yeah. And look,
Yeah, he barely notices that punch before he's out.
I don't give a damn what Tyson's detractors say. I've never seen a man punch harder than this man punched.
I can't disagree with that. I'm sure there's some people who would say Foreman.
Yep.
Foreman was a
Roy
big
Nelson.
bruiser, man. When he was 25, 30, he was a bruiser.
And the way in which he demolished Joe Frazier in both of their fights will always be a thing to behold, because that's freaking Joe Frazier, and he made him look like an absolute punk twice.
He took a beating doing it the second time, though.
I think that one went 5 rounds instead of the 2 rounds that the first one went. That was the one where Frazier shaved his head the night before the fight and showed up. Yeah.
Faster without the wind resistance.
Yep. He did acquit himself a little bit better in the second fight, but and Frazier only ever lost to Ali and Foreman twice each.
Dude,
That's
that says a mountain about the man right there.
It sure as hell does. Yeah, when I hear conversations about the greatest heavyweights and they don't mention Joe Frazier, that's a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, if I'm involved in such a conversation, I immediately bring up Joe Frazier in the middle of it. They're like,
well, yeah, you
like,
have to.
Tyson, Ali, Foreman. I'm like, Frazier. And they look at me funny. And I'm like, no, Frazier. You got to put him in the list, man. You got to.
Yeah, because he held the title for almost 3 years during the greatest era of in heavyweight history. I mean, come on. First guy ever to defeat Ali. Third guy ever to knock down Ali.
He had an elegant style about him too. I mean, it was effective. It wasn't elegant. I said it wrong. Where Ali danced around, Frazier just hurt you.
Yeah, it was brute force. I'm coming right at you, and I'm gonna punch the shit out of you.
He's walking even more in this round, in this match.
I forgot to check and see how long this one goes. This
93 seconds tops.
30 seconds of the second round. So
Oh,
this
he
guy
goes
makes it.
round.
Yeah, this guy makes it to the bell at least. Those body shots, man. Oh.
It's clean through his arm and everything.
Yeah, and it still hurts like shit.
And that's something a lot of people don't understand. When you take a shot to the arm like that, it affects your ability to throw the next punch. It
Yep.
affects the ability to hold your glove up and protect yourself.
Yeah. And that's something that Marciano always used to say. If a guy's covering up and I can only hit him in the arms, then fine, I'll hit him in the arms. You know, that's going to weaken his arms and affect his punching power. So why wouldn't I?
You could watch Marciano targeting particular muscles in the arm, though. It was a beautiful method.
Yep. And Tyson actually got hit right there. Little uppercut. You see him get hit so seldom during this first part of his career that when he does, it's like, wow, he got hit.
And dude's trying to keep him at arm's length, and it is not working. I think that was his whole plan, was every time Tyson moves in, I'm going to put my glove in his face and hop away. Right?
It's almost sometimes like Tyson was actually more comfortable fighting guys much taller than himself.
Yes. Yes. I firmly believe that.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think this one's just about to end.
Oh, we got the first round to go. We got to go all the way through the first round, bud. Although he don't want to fight no more.
I thought we finished the first round already. I guess I'm wrong.
Oh, they're still pummeling each other.
Somebody throw a low blow or something?
Ooh. It wouldn't be.
Okay, there's the end of the round.
There's the end of the first round. All right.
Yeah. So we got 30 seconds left.
And it's like, what, 12 seconds into the second round?
30
seconds in. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already going.
All right, let's pay attention here.
Huh.
Oh, that was oh, yep, there it is. A right and a left, that'll do it.
Now just climb out the ring, go home. Yep. Mix you a little cough syrup, a little bit of Sprite. Sit back, tell your wife.
Did you see what that man just did? That man just spit his mouth guard on the floor to be sure that the ref would stop the fight.
Yeah.
He's like, I do not want to continue. I'm going to spit out my fucking mouth guard just so there's no misunderstanding. And Tyson goes over and gives him a hug.
Right. Helps him up. You all right, bud? I know that was a pretty good dinger you took.
Yeah.
You went around. You did good.
Sorry I rearranged your face so badly. Hope we can still be friends.
And so the question comes up when you were talking about the tomato soup cans. Who do you put against Tyson at this point in time in his career that wouldn't look like a tomato soup can?
Exactly. Which is why I say the way that you perform against chumps and tomato cans, it's still part of your body of work. And how dominant you are is how you measure champions of different eras against one another. Because, like I said, you know, a big part of your body of work is going to be against chumps and tomato cans. That's just all there is to it. That's the way it goes when you're an elite fighter.
Right.
Mark Young is our next victim. This one goes 50 seconds. So don't get up and get a beverage.
Nah.
Oh, and David Jaco's the one after this. That's one of my favorites. That one goes 2:16. That's a real marathon.
Right. It's a marathon, not a sprint, unless it's a Tyson fight. And everybody looks at me funny. I'm like, it's true.
But then after the Jayco fight, the Mike Jameson takes him to the 5th round, and then Jesse Ferguson takes him into the 6th.
But I want to point out the change in his style that has taken place from his earlier bouts to where we're at now, where he's starting to walk around the ring a little bit to chase his opponents instead of hopping.
Yeah,
He's
because
becoming,
early on, it's mostly hopping.
it's almost all hopping in the
Yeah.
early fights. He's so wired up that that's how he moved around the ring. He would jump 6 foot. Just boink.
Like he's getting a bonus for the fewest number of seconds the fight lasts.
Well, I mean, there's a reason they made a video game out of him.
There is.
He had a really unique fighting style, and it became more normalized as Jesus. Look at that man. Is he looked like he's wondering where he left his keys.
That is a frightened man who's trying not to look frightened.
I should have done the thing. I didn't do it. I'm gonna do it now. That's what I'm gonna do. That way we don't have to wonder about it. I want images. I want all results. Right there. All right. Do this. Go to here. Roll down to here.
That's getting pretty annoying, man.
I know, man. I know it is. Next time we set something like this up, we should use your computer to run StreamYards and all the gizmos, and my computer to run whatever video you want to run.
Good idea. Let's go with that.
We'll do that. You can just send me the links private. In fact,
Yeah.
come in like you did earlier, like 20 minutes early. You can drop all the links in the private chat. I should be able to set them up.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, you're about to go down, my friend.
And now we have the classic Tyson look.
Except he's got blue boots on, which kind of ruins it. He's got the right trunks, though.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. The next fight is where he does the super low duck. He almost drags his chin across the freaking mat. What put him down?
Phantom punch? Anchor punch? Fruit punch?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, and he is out like a light, dude. And the punch was so quick it was almost hard to discern it. Yeah, that you can't see that knockout unless you watch it in slow motion. Look at Rooney. He's like, God, I didn't even see that punch. And the guy fell down unconscious. Man looks like he's been in a car wreck.
And you're not far off the mark there, bud. Was this man injured in a car accident? No, sir. He went 37 seconds with Mike Tyson. That makes sense.
But the blunt force trauma is much the same.
Yeah, it's not much different than catching an airbag.
All right, give me some. I want to see a replay on that. Here it comes. Because he hits him and then he staggers backward and doesn't actually go down for another couple seconds.
Ooh, ooh,
Yep.
dude.
See what I mean?
He thought he was clear and he was going to come in and
Yep.
hit him. He got swung clear. Nope.
Oh,
Man
it
was
almost
lucky.
looks like a glancing blow, but look how hard he goes down.
I think his head was turned as far as it could go already.
Yeah, I think probably so. All right, now we get David Jake goes next. This is a great one.
I think this is the one where you get the super low bow.
Yep.
It happens quick, dude. It happens quick. Tyson's standing there. He's got his full guard up, and then
And it's another really tall guy, and those are the guys he demolishes the worst. Yeah, he's already. Oh, dude, it's not fair. It's just not fair.
now you go over and you whisper sweet nothings in his ear, like, I love you and all your people, right? We're best friends. We just ain't met yet.
We got to do something about those. We got to do something about those powder blue trunks, man. That's not going to work.
Can you
Look
imagine?
at him. See him ducking those. He ducks 5 punches and then just delivers 2 left hooks that knock the guy into next week.
Just obliterates him. And we lost him again. So we're gonna go with this. Desiderata, words for life. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. How you got going, bud? As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Mildly Speak confused. Your truth quietly. I keep getting distracted by what you're playing.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I've closed every single application that I've got open, so I don't know why my computer keeps getting pissed off.
Can you drop that link in the private chat?
Yeah.
I'll see if I can make it happen. So the next time it drops down, I'll bring it up.
All right. Shit, sorry.
Jeebus, did he just knock that man out of the ring?
Just about. Do I have to keep going?
Yes, son. You have to keep going.
Oh, that's just brutal. Oh, dude. I think he's unconscious, just leaning on top of him right there.
Was an astonishing.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Where are we at on that? He just hit him in the back and knock you out?
He was actually trying to punch him while going backward. It's a novel strategy for trying to win a boxing match.
Just didn't see it coming.
But you see that so much in these early fights. It's just guys who spend the entire bout going backward. Oh, here's the guy with the hairy shoulders. I love this guy. Trump Casino.
Yep. Okay, here we are. I figured out where we're at now. Cool. The next one's pretty long.
This guy actually takes him 5 rounds though. This guy, I mean, as far as early Tyson opponents go, this guy acquits himself not too badly. Here we go. This fight is kind of a mismatch in terms of conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah.
And already right off the bat, he's been tagged with an uppercut, and he's going backward. Look at him going backward.
Yeah. But
Shit,
I
I
mean,
hit
look
the
at
ropes. I
his
can't go
face.
backward anymore.
That is terrifying. And he just keeps
Yeah,
coming
right.
at you.
Yeah. Still got those blue boots on.
Lakey shoes, maybe.
Going backwards.
I will dress like a rooster if I think it'll make me have a better chance.
Damn right. Here they come to snuff the rooster.
Oh, that is a big man.
Yep, that sure is a big man.
And he has found a way to an extent to neutralize his big haymakers. He gets his hands inside. Watch him. He gets his hands inside, waits for the hook to go. And when the hook starts, he reaches over and puts his glove in the crook of his arm, making it so that Tyson can't close his elbow to actually finish the hook. He swings
Yeah,
up behind him and it doesn't connect.
toward the end of this fight, he's outmatched so badly that he just starts clutching Tyson's arms to do because that's the only thing he can do to avoid getting hit. And frankly, he should be disqualified before the fight ends just for doing all that clutching, but he doesn't.
Well, I mean, yeah, see? He did it again.
Right, that kind of shit right there.
Right. He disarms the hook by putting his
And
elbow.
he just got a warning for it. But he does it a whole bunch more after that.
Well, if he can make it 3 rounds, he's already beat the card.
Oh yeah, I mean in the grand scheme of Tyson opponents, going 3 rounds makes you a legend.
Absolutely.
Ooh. The dude does have a good chin. You can't take that away from him because he takes some vicious shots in this fight and stays on his feet somehow, improbably.
But why?
Yeah.
He have his wife and kid in a van outside
Yeah,
of the
why
shotgun. I mean,
why would you? Why did I
stand-
choose to make my living this way?
Oh no, it took one good knockdown for me to decide boxing wasn't my career.
That's about what it would have taken for me too, I think.
I encountered a guy who had grown up in Philadelphia, and boxing was everything from the time he was like 6 until he was 19 and moved to Georgia. Nobody cared. And I put on a pair of boxing gloves, and he jumped off the top of his truck and ran across wearing a pair of freaking cowboy boots and slid to a stop, snapped at the boxing gloves to beat my brakes off. I should have known better just from the glee that was in his eyes.
Oh yeah.
Truth be told, I did know better. But I had just knocked down 5 large farm boys in a row. And I had my musk up a little bit.
And
he
we are
took it
full
right
of hubris when we're young men anyway.
right? Well, I mean, none of these guys had ever boxed before. I'd boxed twice. So,
Mhm.
whereas this man had spent 10 years in a boxing ring with the coach drilling him, he beat my brakes off, son. Like the difference between a professional and an amateur. Yes.
You know what's sad though is when I watch Tyson fights and he gets in a clutch with somebody, I always find myself thinking subconsciously, God, I hope he doesn't bite his ear off.
Right. You know, he's doing ear chips, Dale. You get
Oh,
ear
Christ.
chips and dip. Yeah.
That's- Somehow I
Little
believe that.
Tyson bites.
Tyson bites. Oh, Christ.
Tyson bites. As I understand it, Holyfield sued him. But he didn't
Only
sue
in
him.
America.
No, he didn't sue him to stop him. He sued him for like 10%.
Because he wanted
just
to cut.
wanted his
Yeah.
cut.
Yep.
He's like, that's how much of my ear you got. I want
I
that
was
much.
the one
of
that got my earlobe spit in the middle of the ring, you son of a bitch. Damn right I'm gonna get a cut.
Could you imagine that conversation?
Yeah, that's gotta be pretty awkward.
As far as I could tell, other than being a boxer, Tyson was largely not non-confrontational. He didn't talk a bunch of smack. He doesn't jump around in the streets and talk a bunch of trash. He was just a Tuesday. He goes and gets his hair
Yeah,
done,
just-
you know?
He's a fairly mild-mannered guy when he's not in the ring. See, look at that clutching.
He's like, man, I do not love you. And Tyson's just like, I'm going to knock you out through your gloves. Just lay down.
I'm doing the only thing I can do to keep you from hitting me anymore. Yeah, how demoralizing that must be when you're so completely outmatched that you have no recourse except brazen rule breaking.
Right? Oh, I'll grab a guy in a heartbeat, dude. If they start swinging on me better than I can swing on them, we're going to the floor. It's going to turn into some Muay Thai real quick.
Yeah, you can tell how terrified this guy is. Look at him going backward. Yeah, he's either going backward or clutching. And what's the point if you, I don't know, if you last until the 5th round, I mean, and you're clutching and going backward the whole time, have you really acquitted yourself all that well?
But does it matter? He still went to the 5th round with Tyson.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest achievement of his entire life. So I guess
I bet you they put his face on a cereal box.
I just punched him in the nuts too.
I should have ate my gummies. I meant to hit you up before. Asked if I could just eat the whole pack of gummies to see how this went. I got a Red Bull and a
Mr.
whole
Tyson,
pack of gummies.
you're kicking my ass bad enough without punching me in the dick. I mean,
Well, this stop
do we
standing
really
up.
need to go there?
Let's fight.
Yeah.
Right, so this is
And you have to remind yourself, this is a 20-year-old man.
right.
He hasn't even reached the peak of his physical development, and this is how dominant he is. Clutching both arms now.
Well, he's been trying. It just hadn't been working that well.
I need to rest. Just let me lean on your arm.
Good God. He's like, I don't want to go back in there, coach. That man is an evil person. He wants to hurt me, coach.
He punches so hard, coach.
You know, I hear that I'm pretty tall and I might be able to make it in basketball. Send in my application to the NBA.
They told me I was a big, tough guy, but I keep getting hit in the face and I don't like it.
That's exactly what ended my boxing career. That man sat there and he said, you want to see something stupid? I said, what? He said, the way you're going to react to this. And he wiggled his hands and then hit me in the head. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it happened
But you
every
didn't
time.
like it.
I didn't like it and I couldn't stop it.
See that? I mean, at this point, you really could DQ the guy. He's getting a warning, but you could DQ him because he's done it like half a dozen times by now. Ooh, ooh.
Him. I ask again, can you blame him? Every
No.
time Tyson gets close enough, he injures my arm, my ear, my earlobe, my teeth, my delicate disposition.
Yep. You either clutch the shit out of him or that happens.
Right. And it's not for a lack of effort. It's just there's nothing else that works.
Yep. Oh.
Just through the gloves. Did you see that look?
I'm getting my ass kicked so bad, even my chest hair hurts. Yeah, he's a human speed bag right now. That's all there is to it. With all due respect to Robin Ventura.
Yeah. No shade, bud.
No shade at all.
Tyson's like, stop grabbing my gloves and
I
get
know.
off of me.
Stop
Let
doing that, or
me
I'm going to hit you even harder.
Ooh.
Oh, you see that uppercut? God damn.
Dude, he has taken 6 or 10 of those things.
Oh, I know. He's got no business being on his feet still.
Absolutely none.
Oh, there's another one. I wonder how many fights this guy had after this.
And the whole time the dude's trying to get punches in between him and Tyson, it's just they don't got any stinky on them. There's nothing there.
Yep, no stinky at all.
He hits Tyson, but it's just like bat. Okay, bat. All right. Meanwhile, Tyson's just laying into him hard. Is this third round? Fourth.
I think it's fourth. And it goes into the fifth, if I'm not mistaken.
He goes on to take a standing 10 count. It's a standing 8 count. Yeah.
Can I take a 14 count instead, ref?
That's over.
Yep.
He's like, can you please
Yeah,
just stop this? He
You
knocked
ask the
my
guy if
eyeball
he's
out.
okay to continue, and you just get 1,000-yard stare.
Have we been watching the same fight? Can he continue? Did you just see what that man did to me? Why are you permitting this? I would like this man brought up on charges. Oh, nightmare.
Jameson fought 8 more. His second to last fight was against George Foreman during George's comeback. How about that?
Wow. Jesse Ferguson's up next.
Jesse Ferguson. Let's see about Jesse Ferguson. I'm afraid to skip to the next one because that's when my signal always drops out when I try to.
Right.
What the hell? Let's play with fire.
It's the worst that could happen.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Jesse Ferguson. Am I still there?
You seem to still be here for the moment.
Wow, how about that?
Although you're blinking.
Uh-oh.
You're doing good. You're doing good. All right. I think you're good.
Cool.
I'm going to go ahead and preload the next one. Just in
All right.
case.
Jesse Ferguson.
I would Cosell talking to the illustrious Mike Tyson. Tell me, son, how did you go about that match? Well, let me tell you, sir. I whopped him right upside the head, and now he doesn't know how to do math anymore.
You seem to have pummeled the young man about the head and shoulders with extreme ferocity, Mr. Tyson.
There you go. You're better at it than me. You suck.
Hey, you still have a cooler voice, so fuck off.
Okay, I might just have better sound equipment. You don't know.
No, you do have a better voice.
All right, I'll take that one on the nose. I think you might be right there.
You've got that deep, rich baritone that I just can't compete with.
I want to do a bit for you, dude. I want to do a bit. It's about Jim Eagle. All right.
All right.
It's about how you came across Jim Eagle or some such, right? But it mimics the beginning of the Lord of the Rings. But something happened to them that Jim did not. He was picked up by the most unlikely of creatures, a conservative. Could you see it, dude? I could totally see it.
My precious.
But what is the precious is the question.
It's true. We could ponder that question until the end of time.
Uh, don't blink.
Well, I was pretty pleased with my Jim Eagle origin story about how we met when I was doing the late night shift at Radio Honduras.
Oh wow. Wow.
I tried to get him to tell the story about him in Guadalupe, but he doesn't want to.
Right. Maybe I should just come up with a Jim Eagle voice for you.
Yeah,
Those
yeah. I think you absolutely should do that.
I guess you'd have to figure out where he's from, what his accent would be like. I think he should have like a native sort of
Oh yeah, I already said that he looks exactly like Bobby Six Killer from Renegade.
I saw that. In fact, right before the show, I was looking around trying to find a good Jim Eagle bit, and I was looking through different things, and then I remembered that scene, and I was like, wait a second, who was that guy? Bobby Six Killer.
And it's funny because they actually used to shoot that show right around here where I live in San Diego, North County, and they shot the thing on a really shoestring budget. So
Oh,
they kind of did stealth shooting whenever they could. So it wouldn't be unusual that and that was during the time I was working for the newspaper. So sometime I would come out of the newspaper building at the end of the day, and all of a sudden there goes fucking Lorenzo Lamas screaming by on his Harley, and and the camera van behind him. But yeah, they would shoot that show that way.
absolutely.
Yeah, I used to see Lorenzo Lamas on his Harley all the time.
Do you ever throw a pool stick through the spokes?
Wish I would have.
Missed your shot, dude. You could have been famous.
Yep. The guy who spoked Lorenzo Lamas.
I interviewed the chick who tried to firebomb Mar-a-Lago.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Fiona Rawls, man. She tried to take a smoke bomb to Mar-a-Lago and threw it over the gate, and the Secret Service arrested her.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
I'm absolutely positive she's on the list.
Oh, I guarantee you, she's on all kind of lists. So
But I
Jesse
just want
Ferguson. Go
Ferguson. Nah, this is off
ahead. Oh,
topic.
he comes into this fight at 14-2.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is not
And
a tremendous.
he takes Tyson into the 6th in this fight.
Right. The last two fights had, well, I don't know, the last fight was kind of dopey. But I think that man found something that worked and thought maybe if I could hold out long enough, he'll just give up. I can't be.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
maybe if I clutch his arms long enough, he'll die of a massive heart attack.
No, I think he thought that Tyson was a early bout burst fighter, and he's not wrong, but he had never seen Tyson go 5 rounds, and he thought he could wear him out and then beat him down, and it just wasn't
And
working.
for a guy like that, it's probably the best strategic approach you could take.
What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what the fuck else are you supposed to do?
Ow.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. And Tyson's just like, nope.
Mhm.
Rejected. Nah. Nope.
At least we're getting into some classier fights now. We got your Budweiser logo on the mat and everything.
Yeah. Money.
We're out at the upstate New York high school gymnasiums.
We got the black and gray shorts. Still haven't seen his shoes, so the cameraman's on point.
I kind of like the gray stripe. That's not a bad look.
It's not. Didn't he typically go black and red? Black with a red stripe?
Just black.
Oh, yeah.
Black trunks, black boots, no socks, no robe.
Huh.
Gladiator style, baby.
Is he even wearing shoes? Those look like socks.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's got on his feet there. It looks kind of weird.
They look like booties, man, like he was in a hospital.
Yeah,
Oh, here he goes hopping.
because
He
normally
actually
normally he's wearing those really short boots that are barely
Yeah.
above high tops.
Did you notice his little dance right there?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, that's more footwork than he's done up to this point in his career.
Yep.
Yeah, see? That was like half an Ali shuffle.
Yeah.
I'm not
Tyson
joking.
two-step. No, you're right.
He was like bip and then took a step forward, and Holmquist was like, I've
Yeah,
seen that
exactly.
before. And see, Tyson will sit right here with his head against you and knock you out by punching you in the gizzard, the gut, the craw, and various other parts of your anatomy you don't actually have.
And I always liked the post-fight interview after the Trevor Berbick fight where he wins the championship, and the first thing Tyson says is, "I'm sure Cuss is looking down, talking about all the things I did wrong."
Right? I'm a total loser.
And that right there is a young man who has got it all together and is taking exactly the right approach. And it's too bad that all fell apart.
Well, I mean, you can't remain champion forever. That is not the nature of champions.
True, but a guy as talented as this, his peak should not have been at age 21, and it's kind of tragic that it was.
So I got a question,
Okay.
and you can just skip over it if you don't want to touch on this. What about his prison boxing career? How much
Did
do
he
we
have
know?
a prison boxing career?
If you were the warden of a prison and you had Mike Tyson,
I would start a prison boxing league.
no surrender, no retreat, son. I mean, I can't remember the right one. It was the Seagal movie where they did exactly that.
Oh yeah, God, what movie was that? All those Steven Seagal movies kind of run together.
They do, because you can hear you breathing in the background. And it's
since they're all basically the same movie.
I seriously believe that back about 10 years ago, Steven Seagal went and made a full portfolio of stock footage, and they've just been cutting movies from it ever since.
It's quite possible.
I mean, I straight up had that conversation with my wife. I was like, look, there's two ways to go about starting this channel. I can start and do things and see what works, or I can do what I'm planning on doing, but we can go ahead and start filming now, and I can start my channel in a year when I've got my body of work put together well enough to suit me. And she was like, well, which one's cheaper? I said, oh, balls deep, baby. Zoom, zoom. Here we are.
Well, yeah, and if you do a whole bunch of groundwork anyway, I mean, what's the point going to be? Just turn on the fucking camera and start shooting videos. That's all you really can do.
You're not wrong, but also groundwork has its place if you have a point for the channel. If the point is more important than success, if your purpose is more important than gathering viewers and subscribers, then fine, do your thing, right? But if your goal here is a brand, is success,
look at this guy.
Yeah,
sorry,
boss, can you please stop this man from hurting me?
If I hold both his arms, he can't punch me. I think this is the guy that gets disqualified. Because they DQ'd him for doing that double clutching all the time, and then Tyson's corner appealed the decision and said, can we have a knockout instead of a DQ? Because this guy's got a knockout streak, and this would be a shitty way for it to end. So they changed it to a knockout. And it's a fair point, I think.
Yeah. Although, admittedly, I don't think that would fly for virtually any other boxer of the era.
Nope, absolutely not.
But in this case, like any rational man goes, well, the only reason he didn't knock him out is because he loves him so much.
Yep.
Because they're downright cuddling.
Yeah, and that's not the face of a man who wants to be in that ring.
Mm-mm. He does want to win, though.
Getting a lot of warnings. Going backwards.
What's he got, about 3 inches on Tyson? 4?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4. And I think that's just the way Tyson liked it.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're right. He delivers more of a beatdown on taller opponents.
Yeah. And particularly with that uppercut.
Yeah.
Because the farther up your face is, I mean, the more travel you can get into that fist.
Yeah. It's like trying to dodge a freight train with no
Damn
horn.
right.
Solid gold. Can you hear the rain falling on the roof over here?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. I turned up.
Is it coming down that heavy?
Yeah. It has been all day too, man. My aquaponics is plumb overflowed. Like, it's not a problem. It's designed to do that. It's just that if you don't keep the pH balanced right, the plants suffer. I don't really have much in it right now, but
Yeah,
the philosophy.
we've had a whole shitload of rain here the last couple of weeks, like more than usual.
About time for
Like actually enough to register.
Yeah. Dude, I'm in a rainforest. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so my definition of rain is a bit different than yours.
I'm sure, and I've tried to have this conversation with Mandatory Gary too. He lives in a desert, like full on, full bore, and full stop. Like his primary issue with having like a broken down car is the fact that he's in the desert. He's got to walk the roads to get back where he's going because anybody can get lost wandering off into that death trap, right? So
Where's
we
he
had
live?
a conversation. He lives somewhere in like eastern California, western Utah, maybe Arizona, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark.
Death
He's
Valley,
in the
basically.
desert. Yeah, he's in the fucking desert, right? And he asked me, he's like, well, what's the hardest problem you'd have getting home? I was like, staying dry.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I said, well, if you wake up at 6 in the morning, there's a deep pea soup fog like downtown London. By about mid lunchtime, it's 102 with a 99% humidity if it's not higher and currently raining. And it probably is.
Yeah, the first time I ever experienced East Coast humidity was first time I went to Philadelphia. And I nothing like that in my experience at all up to that point. I exited the front door of the airport and I had to teach myself how to breathe.
Uh-huh.
It felt like I was swallowing the air. Totally outside my prior experience. Just had to relearn. Oh, that down goes that son of a bitch.
Oh, dude. When I went to Texas, I show up the day before one of the first snowstorms they'd had in like 5 years. And they were all upset about how it was so cold. And I was standing there in, like, no joke, a vest with a jacket on, a t-shirt, pair of pants. That was it. And I was like, it's really not that cold, you know. I mean, it's just the wind that's a little cutting. And I mean, these people were acting like it was freezing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I get it now. I get it. It suddenly hit me. They're cold because they're not dressed for the cold. They're not used to the humidity that came with this snow, right? So it hadn't started snowing yet. It was still raining in Texas.
Mhm.
There were people walking around outside like it was the most amazing thing they'd ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Me. It rains everywhere I go. I don't know, dude. Um, I've been talking to my wife about building a travel rig. She's actually kind of okay to awful lot of eccentric things. For instance, the idea of instead of buying a truck, we buy a rig, like just the truck, no bed. Then we buy the slide-in camper to put on it and build the
Okay.
bed to it.
Right.
So I can have the full toolbox bed with the full space of the camper, and everything would be a good 4 inches, 5 inches lower than your standard rig setup like that, because it doesn't have the bed interfering. It's
Best of
straight
both
bolts
worlds.
to the chassis, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it'd probably cost maybe 10% more than the whole rig new.
And she gave you the okay.
Sort of, sort of. She hasn't completely shot it down yet, and she seems to like that idea better than not being able to go through drive-throughs and like the one issue is that leaves us with one vehicle. So I'm thinking I'll get me a motorcycle, just strap it to the back.
There you go.
That way I can go do the meetups that I want to do, and she can stay in the house.
I told Lady Curmudgeon earlier that I'm not averse to taking a cruise for our 30th anniversary this year. She
Oh,
was pretty excited about that.
yeah. I've never been on a cruise.
I
Everybody I've
haven't
ever
either. And she's been trying to convince me to go on a cruise since we were 15 years old.
well,
So
everybody
you
I've ever heard of that went on a cruise has always come back saying that it was the most horrendous experience they ever had.
Yep. And I don't have the faintest desire to go on a cruise ship. So when I proposed the idea, she comes back with, "Oh, you want to go on a cruise?" I said, "No, I
Hey,
don't want to go on a cruise. I
can I,
want to go to an awesome place. And if we get there on a boat, that's fine."
can I pitch one for you if you want to
Yep.
include a boat in it? All right. You can't do it right now, but there are these Mississippi River boats that still run up there, or when the Mississippi's high enough,
Oh yeah, like the
Still
paddle wheel
the
steamers.
old, yes, no, you can
Yeah.
straight up get rooms on an old paddle wheel steamer that has all the modern conveniences of today. And I've heard awesome things about those because they'll paddle out into the Gulf, hit the international waters, and then it's no holds barred for 18 hours.
Yeah, I would do that in a freaking heartbeat, dude.
That would be awesome.
Damn right.
I wonder what it costs to rent one of those boats. Just the whole thing for like a weekend.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it?
I bet they're all out of service at the moment.
It's possible. Steve
James
Zuski.
Ellis,
Oh, I think this is a good one
Steve
too.
Zuski.
You
Good
know the
Lord.
Pollock's going to give him a great fight.
Well,
Oh, we're only 2 fights away from Mitch Bloodgrain. Do you remember Mitch Bloodgrain?
I do not. There
He
was
was
this fight. I can't remember the boxer, the particular fight it was. My pops had bought 2 pay-per-views in a row to watch Mike Tyson fight. And in both cases, he was out of the bathroom peeing, and then he was in the kitchen getting him a drink. He just stepped out of the room for a second because the fight just started, right?
Yep. Yeah, that'll happen.
He was very angry.
Yeah, lots of people were, like we were talking about before. What am I getting for my pay-per-view dollar here, god damn it?
Oh, he didn't even get to see it. He had to watch the replay. He was mad.
But anyway, Tyson fights Mitch Bloodgreen in May of 86. Before he has won the title. But then a few years later in 1990, when Tyson is the dominant undisputed world champion, Mitch Bloodgreen decides it would be a great idea to go start a confrontation with Tyson outside some bar in Brooklyn one night. So then he can say, I want a rematch with Tyson. I want that man in the ring. So that's what, and he winds up getting his ass kicked in the alley fight, of course. He gets his eye closed and he's got a fat lip and he's, I want that man in the ring. This was the best thing he could think to do to try and salvage some semblance of a vestige of his boxing career, was to
I would have said
shrug.
thank you, sir.
Yeah. Needless to say, he didn't get his rematch.
I'd have tried my best to say thank you, sir, after getting knocked out by Mike Tyson. That was
Yep.
pretty much my opinion of getting run over by Takeo Spikes or getting outrun by Robert Edwards. You know,
Oh yeah, and it's kind of a shame because Mitch Blood Green was the first guy to take Tyson the distance. He lost, but it was a 10-round decision.
well, how do you decide against Tyson
Yeah. How do you decide against
at this
Tyson?
point? At this point, you could fight a flawless fight, throw more punches, more blows, land more hits, and come out the other end and still lose against Tyson on this because
I think this I think this buttery ginger with the man boobs with the 15-9 record has a great shot of knocking out Tyson.
Great White Height. We shall call him Honky Kong.
Ooh, I like that one.
I stole it.
I never heard that one before. Seems like I would have heard that.
I've said it before, but it's
I'm
a
kind of
reference.
ashamed that I never thought of that myself.
It's a reference from a meme about Snowflake the gorilla. We shall call him Honky Kong. It's a great white
Honky
gorilla.
Kong. Yeah, I like that.
Um, I used to have it as my avatar, Snowflake.
Mm.
And I've probably got as much footage of Snowflake as anyone else in the world. I didn't realize that when I started assembling it and I went looking, like really looking. And I
Yeah.
realized, wait a second, all 5 of these are identical. All 7 of these are bits of that one and bits of this one. And all 8 of these are bits of that one and bits of this one. And I've got these 2 other ones over here that I haven't seen anywhere else.
Hmm.
One's literally an old Panavox home video that somebody
wow.
filmed at the zoo. I might not even be saying that name right. One of the early like camcorder cameras that looked like a news studio camera. It was like this big.
Yeah, you had to heave it around on your shoulder. Yeah.
I found a digital upload of one of those of Snowflake at the zoo, and I went and edited that together to use as a background for my radio show. Because it's footage very few people have seen. One of those videos only had like 450 views when I found it.
Wow.
Been sitting over there for 30 years.
Yeah.
It was 9 years on YouTube, but 47 views or something. Okay.
Like 9 views a year, right?
I bet you got all of those in the first week.
Probably so. Now, you wouldn't think that Steve Zuski is going to last almost through 3 rounds, but he's going to last almost through 3 rounds.
He has a super tight upper body fit. Like his defense is actually really, really fucking fit. Watch him. As soon as Tyson gets close, those hands come up and cross like this.
Yeah.
And
the defensive,
suddenly,
like he goes into a full-on crouch.
Dude, it don't leave much out.
No.
I think it's about time to clean that bowl, bud.
All right. I want to see how Steve Zuski did after this one. Oh, Steve Zuski's on his back, ladies and gentlemen. I think I made Box Rec mad. It's not letting me open any pages anymore.
Huh.
I just want to know about some Steve Zuski, for Christ's sake.
80s, 90s ring girls.
There we go.
Those
Yeah,
poor,
80s ring girls for sure. We're still in 85 here.
Okay. Yeah, right. That was a cocaine cowboy ring girl there.
Yeah, you got that right.
You're right on the cusp of silicone implants being a real thing.
Yep.
At the very beginning of that fad, yeah.
Steve Zuski, 49 fights, 131, lost 18.
Man, given the fact
He also fought Foreman in Foreman's comeback. 2 fights after this, as a matter of fact. Sorry to interrupt you.
you're good. I forgot what I was saying anyway. Probably wasn't that important.
He fought Tommy Morrison also in 1989.
Mr. Tommy the Machine Gun.
Tommy the Machine Gun.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh,
I saw that.
God, now I'm
earlier.
thinking about Rocky 5. God, Rocky 5.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly what I was thinking. See, here's the thing. I saw the name Tommy Morrison and I went, and in my head, I saw the machine gun, that intro that pops up in Rocky 5.
yep.
And I went, no. And I went and looked it up. It's like, yep. That's cold. That's harsh.
Yeah, talk about guys who should have had a better career than they did. Jesus Christ, he's near the top of that list. And appearing in that movie was probably the absolute worst life decision he ever made. Well, I mean, aside from getting AIDS.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, if you get a dude, don't lie to me. If you were offered a role in Rocky 17, what would you say?
I'd say, how many rounds before I defeat Ivan Drago?
I would simply ask where to sign and when do I show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, you can't knock the guy for taking the gig, but I don't think it did his boxing career any favors.
Oh no. Although that is a good point. I wonder how hard it would be to edit me into a Drago. Like, hold on. Let's see.
Break you. Soon I defeat the real champion.
Yeah, no, maybe. And it's over.
Yeah, it says he loses the. Oh, there's an 80s outfit, ring girl outfit for you. Wow, how about that?
Right.
I'm not opposed to that.
I prefer more sandwiches. Maybe some red beans and rice. A little bit of neck bone.
It says here this fight ends in a knockout, but it doesn't say which round.
Weird.
What round are we in now? Round 3. Surprised this guy's still in it. Round 3. The ginger with the man boobs.
He looks exhausted. He looks like he went 3 rounds with Mike Tyson.
He looks like a guy that Tyson should have no trouble dispatching in about 46 seconds.
It's the mustache.
Got to be the ginger mustache, right?
Behold the power of the mustache. I find your lack of happy thoughts disturbing. I was trying to pitch myself for Captain Hook using a James Earl Jones voice. Stand away, avast. Right.
I find your lack of, yeah, I can't even go that low. There's no way.
I find your lack of happy thoughts disturbing. He wouldn't have no part of it. He heard my pirate and went for it.
I am your father.
I'm your father.
Yep, that's better than mine. I can't touch that.
Am your father.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
Well, I need a little reverb to make that one work.
Yep.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
Yeah, that's solid
Yeah,
stuff right there.
But as Hook though, I mean, can you see it?
Yeah, how do you blend the one with the other?
Well, see, that's the thing is like we were doing like a behind the scenes reading, and the person that was doing Hook was doing some other behind the scenes stuff, and so they were going through them and Hook popped up. I started reading the lines like this. And everybody just started giggling, but I didn't stop, and neither did the other two actors that were reading. They just kept going, and so I just kept going, and everybody was dying laughing. And Scully was just like, "That's not what we want for a show. We can't just
Beautiful.
kill the audience that way." I'm like, I don't understand. That's when I hit him with the "I find your lack of happy thoughts disturbing."
Oh God, did you see
Jesus.
that? Jesus.
Oh my God.
Talk about a man's head almost getting separated from his shoulders. Jesus H. Christ.
Tyson's like, I wish I could help that man up.
And I was just about to say, this Zuski's kind of a tough son of a bitch. He's taken some shots that we've seen put other guys out.
Then he took one that put other guys out.
Yep. And then he took that one. Behold the power.
Very busy night, bud.
Huh?
It has been a very busy night. There have been like 60 people went live in the past 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I do largely subscribe to live streamers, so kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I wish I could understand why people have such a clear preference for live streams over other types of videos, but I don't.
They want to interact with the creator in a way that videos don't permit. And if as a creator you choose not to interact in that way, that's your choice, but it will also affect the type of people that come to your channel.
Right. All right, who comes after Steve Zuski?
Mitch Green. No, James Tillis.
Oh yeah. That's right, because we were just talking about that.
That's a long one.
What's yeah, like? I think let's compress that one. Oh, we got James Quick Tillis first. How did that happen? I thought it was Zuski and then Green.
No, it's Zuski then Tillis.
Oh yeah, Zuski then Tillis then Green.
Then Green, right? Because
Yeah.
Green's the one that gets completely, just utterly destroyed. Well, you can say that about all of them, but
yeah, and there's still 1, 2, 3. There's still 4 more fights before he gets to his 20th birthday.
Cool. I did a test stream the other day to see how many windows I could run simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I came up with 4. I can stream, game. My wife can game. Is it gonna work? Come on, work. Function. How you want to run it?
This thing's pissing me off, man.
I know, bud. What are these?
I've still got the thing playing in my window.
Oh, that's horrible. That's my screen that's up there.
Oh, okay. Coming right up then. There we go.
OBKB, baby.
Ooh. Yeah, Tillis takes a hell of a lot of punishment in this fight. It's actually pretty damn impressive that he goes the distance. And this was probably the best fighter that Tyson had faced up to this point by pretty wide margin.
I don't remember Tillis. He does not seem to be directly afraid of him.
Yeah.
He seems to be very respectful of that hook, though. And he's gaining more respect by the moment.
Wow, I thought he had a better career record than he does. 42-22. That's like a Rocky Balboa record. Isn't that exactly what Rocky's record was in the first Rocky movie? 42-20 something?
Can't remember. It was sad as I watched that movie a couple of weeks ago. Right when you suggested this, I went and watched Rocky 2, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, and Rocky 3.
Yeah, I'm almost positive he had 40 something wins and 20 something losses.
And my wife hates you.
Does she?
Like the entire day, dude. Like I woke up that morning, went in there, sat down, and I was just flipping through, and Rocky was available. I went, and I turned it on. She didn't say a word. We was like all the way through Rocky. And then it suggested Rocky 2, and I looked over at her, and she looked me straight in the eye and shrugged.
How can you not watch Rocky 2 when you just got done watching Rocky?
I did. She didn't say anything. I just turned it on.
It leads right one into the other.
Right. I turned it on.
That's one of the things I think is brilliant about the Rocky movies. It was the first movie series where they really opened the next movie with directly flashbacks from the last movie.
Right. That made sense.
It drops you right back into where you were at the end of the last movie, and I thought that was great.
Because I'm pretty sure Goblin and Nilbog were made before Rocky, but that's not the same at all.
Not the same at all.
Not the same at all.
He's still rocking the black trunks with the gray. Does he have the black boots yet? It looks like he's got the black boots.
Woohoo! Dude. That was a show enough knockout blow, no doubt. Why does the referee keep slapping him on the elbow?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
I mean, these men punch people for a living. Maybe don't hit them.
That's a weird, awkward style that Tillis has.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at that. He's kind of doing this weird George Foreman paw.
Well, he kind of faces straight forward.
Like he reaches out and measures him, and then the next couple that come in are going to be heavy. But he's already got one
Yeah,
close.
and now that we're into the stage of his career where Tyson is fighting legitimate contenders, you see a real difference in his approach. He's not just bull in a china shop charging forward, throwing every punch a knockout punch. There's a little more strategy to his game now.
I mean, he's
See that?
actually boxing.
Yep. You see that bob and weave just now?
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Huh.
Mm.
You see it, right?
Yep.
Tillis seems to have a little bit of that hop measured. When Tyson tries to hop
Oh.
in on him, Tillis zigs it just enough that it doesn't have the desired effect.
Yeah, he came in with a game plan, it seems.
Yeah, or is it that Tyson's not hopping as hard as he was? He is boxing. He's
Yeah.
walking around in the ring. He's no longer jumping back and forth.
Yeah, it's a different approach than we've seen in any of the fights up till now.
Well, you saw
He
clues
doesn't.
about it in the last fight. Like there was a couple of times he just walked around the ring instead of hopping, and then he'd go back to doing his little bounce again.
Yeah.
Even half of an Ali shuffle, as I pointed out before.
Even half of an Ali shuffle. And it still is
Wow.
amazing to consider that he's only 19 years old.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh. He caught it with both hands and it still hurt him.
Yeah, Tillis just did kind of one of the things that Foreman used to do, where he would put both hands on your shoulders and move you to where he wanted you, and then hit you.
The only issue is he doesn't quite outweigh Tyson enough to make that work.
Right.
Not quite. He can move himself away to put himself in the right spot, but that's not the same thing. And Tillis is intending to knock him out. He's not in here playing patty cake.
And he's less intimidated than anyone we've seen thus far.
Yes, yes. This is as much sumo wrestling as it is boxing.
Yeah, it often is.
You see how low Tyson just went on that duck?
Yep. Oh yeah, he can get really small vertically in a big hurry.
In a real big hurry.
And that's one of the things that makes him so deadly. You know, he goes down all that way to duck your punch, and then he's in perfect position to come back and launch himself into that left hook or that right uppercut.
Do that uppercut.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. It looked kind of like they both ran out of freaking gas right there for a second because they were like bam, 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 bam.
That was quite a flurry.
It was. I'd like to get some motion capture on that.
Totally.
Just to have a clue what just happened. I feel kind of like I just watched one of those Japanime sword scenes where it just shows a
Right.
bunch of still shots.
Yeah.
I felt like I missed something.
Huh. You care if we jump ahead a few rounds?
Dude, you handle it the way you handle it. I'm here until you're done. I don't care if it takes 4 hours. If you got that much time in your day, that's fine. I've even got a Red Bull hit out behind me if it comes to.
I think let's do the last 10 minutes and then check out.
You know what I discovered today that upset me?
Huh.
My links I've been putting in my descriptions are not functional.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I can understand it not working from StreamYard during a live stream. That kind of makes sense. But when I go in and
Yeah.
manually install the links for the channels that I'm presenting and the links don't work, what's the point?
Yeah, what the hell is the point? It
I can't
seems
credit
kinda
the channel effectively. So I will go back and check tomorrow and see if the links I put in this last one worked. And if they did not work, I will remain upset, I suppose. I
Yep.
guess I'll try to fix it because that's useless. That turns my show into a completely useless attempt.
And
I
I will
felt.
be upset vicariously through you.
I mean, what's the point? Okay, you can see the name of the channel and you can go find it.
Yeah, or you could just
Click the link.
copy paste it the old fashioned way, but it's pretty stupid that you can't even do a simple hyperlink.
Well, here's the thing: when I throw a hyperlink in there, it changes it from a hyperlink to being their name their channel handle. Right?
Oh yeah, I hate
It
when
does
they do
that
that.
thing. And then
Yeah.
whenever before it premieres, all the links work. But as soon as the premiere launch, it turns into it goes to a this YouTube doesn't support this site thing, which is just
That's
weird. I've never
that's
had that
kind of
problem
bizarre.
before.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. Isn't the internet the internet?
Like I said, I think it has something to do with the using the handles rather than the actual link.
Oh.
Because when I try to hyperlink it, I can go and get the base link that has, the ULCA38P479TXCU or whatever.
Right.
But the one that has your name on it doesn't seem to work in the descriptions. And I don't understand why.
That seems very strange indeed.
Because I've been trying to credit you with the monologues. And I've been, and this is really weird. The first couple of times I put the link there, they just disappeared. They were no bullshit in StreamYards in the description. You go over and it would say your name, as intro, whatever, description, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest of the links would all show up. And that one was just gone. And I was like,
That's kind of fascinating.
creepy? Yes.
Yeah.
Misspelled creepy.
Makes me wonder how many blacklists I'm on.
You remember what I said about not pushing this channel anymore and just pushing the Captain Curmudgeon program? Because, oh, my dear message, I've run 300 people through your channel, dude. With a stick. Like, I straight abuse some people into going and checking you out. And I'm sure they're watching. Your views are going up, even though your subscribers seem to be hovering, right around there. I don't get it. I don't get it, dude.
Well, each time I gain 5, I lose at least 2.
And how? Why? For what reason?
Yeah, there is absolutely no reason that happens organically. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just can't think of any reason how that happens organically every single time.
Right. I think we should do
Well, that was quite a finish to that fight. They were both hitting the shit out of each other at the end.
a second chapter. Okay.
Okay.
Are we back?
We're back.
You know, now the rain over here is really absurd.
At least it was you this time and not me. You got any other orders of business before we check out? I shall take that as a no. All right, since everybody seems to be having technical difficulties now, let's just adjourn our proceedings for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a pleasant. What? I was just signing off, and now you come back.
Much love, everybody.
Much love, everybody. See you later. Get off my fucking lawn.